Hi everybody, it's BDevine, voice of the flame, and I hope that you're having an awesome day wherever you are. And today I am going to go over a few things with you all, and I'll also give a message that will, I'm sure, be a bonus to us with the Astro Star Codes deck. First of all, tomorrow is my birthday, so you may not see me posting for a few days. I am going to take some time to myself, and in that time I will be developing some things for you all, and working on the different structures and situations that I need to be working on as well. But I also just wanted to remind you that if you are interested in working with me live in a group setting, there are now settings here on YouTube as well as Patreon to become a part of the Flame tier. It is not the $8 a month tier, it is the $49.99 a month. And that will enable you to be in exclusive connection with me live to do monthly sessions and opening up a whole lot of information for you as well. So if you like those, you'll be able to work with me in those lives, okay? Also, if you want to work with me just one-on-one, okay, on Zoom, there's also a selection for that as well. There is also at my website, BDevine Online, instead of readings, they are transmissions, and I have bundles now. So there's a bundle of 4 transmissions that you get at a very discounted price, where you can really seal in this new energy. The transmissions are much deeper than a regular reading, because it's not because there was anything wrong with readings. It's just that I'm able to look further into your timeline in all directions, as well as your field on an astral level, on a personal level, physical level, emotional level, spiritual level, all of this included, as well as the themes that you have, and the situations that you need help with, as well as opening up your own abilities and doing special activations just for you. So if you haven't tried one of the transmissions, it's really fantastic, and it is personalized for each one of you. They're not downloads, so to speak, where it's just for everybody. These are for you. So some things that are coming up, okay, for this time that we're in right now. I made a special video, a hot minute today, which was kind of explaining that things have already changed. Things are different. You might have noticed a difference in the air, or you might have noticed that people are behaving differently, or signs are coming. We have a butterfly that won't stop coming around, and it actually landed on Bobby's hand twice, came back and landed again on his hand. And then today there was one just circling around. There was one at the back door last night. It's been a butterfly fest. And butterflies are indicators of change, right? And also of manifestations and things coming to reality, a change for the better. But there's also a change on a more structural level, a universal level as well, because there is a lot of work going on behind the scenes that is building different light scaffolds and tearing down the dark ones. There has been a dome, a veil, a net over this planet for a very long time, encouraging people to rely on someone else to receive. For example, priests, or you have to go to a priest now to get an answer from God, or you're going to a reader to get the answers from you or for you, or there's a lot of dependency on outside influences, and that's how it was set up a very long time ago, to stop you from accessing the information for yourself. And this is what my transmissions do for you, is they help you to access your own information, and then what you do with that and how that sort of works in your life is connected with you, right? We are going to notice a fall in so many different ways of so many familiar things as we are stepping forward into our own pathway, right? So situations, celebrities, money, things that are going on with governments and leaderships. We're going to start seeing things on the earth itself. And we've been seeing different weather anomalies and things going on everywhere. As that dome, as that net, as that veil is deconstructed, and as that false light is being squashed, okay, and as all of those false teachers and information that you've been receiving for a long time from others, as they start to disappear, okay, you are all going to see how much of a better future we have, because we're deciding on a sovereign, authentic pathway rather than a dictated, fearful loop, okay, that many people are continually going through. And what will happen to you as you are in this flame frequency, okay, which is your inner flame, your connection to everything. It is all knowledge given, all within, and I show you how to access it, okay? And as we start living this way, your tolerances for BS is going to be almost zero. You're not going to want to have anyone full of drama around you. I'm telling you, your energy will not be able to tolerate that kind of distortion. Excuse me. So, when I speak to you, I'm speaking as one who carries the flame of remembrance. And the BS fades, the false fades, or the mimic fades, and the true ones, the ones that have been in the background, the ones that have been trying to get your attention, the ones that are trying to help and truly help humanity, and they don't get a leg up from anywhere else. They don't get handouts. They don't get proper, vision on their work or anything. They're going to come forward. And if you feel that stirring within you, you were always meant to be here. And you're allowing this deep transmission to happen now. Your flame is awakening. Okay, this is what's going to start happening. You won't know exactly how to put it into words. You won't know how to put, you won't know how to, definitely, it's hard to explain it to people. Okay, but what you will feel inside of you is a stirring, and a stirring of change, and a less tolerant approach to BS, drama, negativity, people who are spiraling out of control, and also people who need attention all of the time. Now that is one thing that just used to, just brush over my energy field. But now when I see that someone constantly needs attention, constantly needs validation, constantly is talking about their issues and their problems and how they hate this and they hate that, and they're constantly spreading that, I can't even have it anywhere near me anymore. Whereas before I just used to roll my eyes and scroll on, but now I just can't. I have to unfollow it. I don't even want to look at it, because people who are in that vibe of constantly needing sort of somebody else to appreciate them, are constantly showing everybody every little minute of their day, or constantly needing someone to follow and like and all that sort of stuff all the time, pictures of themselves all the time, situations in their life, here it is, everybody knows about it. They are in a warped system. They don't see their own worth. They're looking at others to give it to them. And when they don't get that, they ramp it up. And when they don't get that, they fall into depression. Then they build themselves back up into this posting all of the time. And then they're sick, or then there's something happening with their family, or they've got a negative test, or they've got something that's going on, or their kids are driving them crazy, or their parents are driving them crazy, or their friends are driving them crazy, and they go up, 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 getting all this attention. But then when they ramp it up into the next level, no one's interested, so it falls back down again. These people are going up and down. Okay, you're going to see this everywhere. You probably already do. People can't keep away from having others to validate them, okay? In my line of work, I'm here to validate you. I don't care whether people like me or not. That's not what I'm here for. And I've never been here to be liked. Isn't that funny? I'm a bubbly person by nature. I'm a nice person. I'm a kind person. But at the same time, I have boundaries. And they don't get walked over anymore like they used to, right? And the message is the most important thing. I am here to bring the message, the transmission, the connection, and show you how to do it. That's what I'm here for, right? And people can get up in arms thinking, wow, you know, you're not giving to me anymore. I can't control what you're giving to me anymore. I don't like you anymore. And that's fine. I don't need that false kind of light anyway. You know, so I don't need someone to pretend to like me because they're getting something from me. And that's how you all should be. You know, we all need to sort of have a look at ourselves, have a look at what we're putting up with, and have a look at what we're allowing, and have a look at where our looping happens. And when we fall back on all of this old energy, have a look at what you're actually trying to achieve. What are you trying to achieve? Are you trying to get everybody to like you, understand you, and then you'll move ahead? Because that never works. Are you trying to make sure that nobody else is going to be upset with you? Because that will never happen in the real world. And you're going to have to be okay with some people not liking, or some people not supporting, some people wishing you were different. But you have to love yourself enough and believe in yourself enough to continue to go ahead anyway, because there is always somebody who goes first in this stuff, in anything in life. There's always someone that takes that first hard step. The first time you drove a car, it was hard for you, right? Not everybody is perfect driver on their first go round, right? But we kept on going, and because we wanted something at the end of it, right? We wanted to have that relief. We wanted to have that freedom. Some people started out doing spiritual work, for example. You had your first time doing a reading for someone, right? And it's like, ooh, but you did it and you pushed through, and it wasn't as bad as you thought, because the message is what counts. Not whether you are 1000% accurate or not, it's the message. And it's going to be different for everybody. So as you're using your discernment a lot more, as you're tuning into this energy, and this is what the voice of the flame is. It's talking to that essence, that undeniably prophetic, profound, perfect energy within you that has everything that you need and no need for outside validation. So we can break that cycle and that loop and that connection and disconnection from the self and bring everything back within. And as I'm speaking with that, okay, that can stir you as well, where you're not really sure where you sit anymore, and that's okay also. Some will figure this out quickly, some will take a bit longer, some will need proof, and that's coming, believe me. But there's also going to be times where you really have to analyze where your boundaries are, what's been going wrong in your life, what needs shifting in your life, what you're moaning and complaining about, what your inner thoughts are, if you need other people to give you attention or you don't really care, or why don't you care, or why do you need attention, you know, like just sort of analyzing your emotions, shifting your vibration a little bit into what it is that really makes your heart sing. And that's the most important thing. So another thing that I have noticed is a lot of people are resetting and realigning. Like, for example, some people that sort of started to come and they've been through the midpoint activation, and maybe you came to the first one that I did for the origin flame. After that time, after you really let it sink in for you, there is no choice but for this new part of the journey to begin. And it really does shake you up sometimes as to what's going to take place, right? So things that you felt that you may never be able to do, you're just doing it. You're not questioning it. And the information is coming. A weird thing that's been happening for myself is, and you know that I was raised Christian and all of that, but I know that that's a false trap. I know that that's a control mechanism, and no one else can convince me otherwise. But I will tell you that these Bible verses have been just popping into my head. And it's not so much it's not that I know the verse, it's just like 1 Corinthians 1:28 or something like that will just be there. And when I look, it is connected to exactly what I'm talking about. It's connected to exactly what I'm saying, right? For example, where's my iPad? Okay. So, so that one I just told you about. Just one moment. Yeah, 1 Corinthians 1:28. It's very interesting. Okay, just bear with me. I've written this whole thing about it, so I got to get myself to the top of it. Okay. Okay, so 1 Corinthians 1:28 is, and base things, this is the King James Version, it says, and base things of the world, and things which are despised, hath God chosen, yea, and things which are not, to bring to naught things that are. Okay, so listen to the breakdown. This shows that the divine works in paradoxes. When what the world dismisses as weak, unworthy, or insignificant is often exactly what or who God chooses to reveal his greatest power through. It's a reminder that human standards of value don't dictate spiritual worth. The base things, right, equals humble, ordinary, overlooked aspects of life and people. The despised equals those who are rejected and misunderstood by others. Is that you? The things which are not equals those who seem like they don't matter in worldly terms. We're not famous. We're not in the tabloids. We don't have all the money in China. We're not in movies, okay? We're here, maybe you're on YouTube, maybe you're on TikTok, wherever you are, just trying to say, hey, I'm different, okay? So through these things, God, or Source, overturns false hierarchies and reveals truth, dissolving the illusion of the worldly power structures. He uses people who are ordinary to be extraordinary, okay? So this is if you're connected with the Bible and you wanted to know what God does and how he does it, or Source, or how it works, right? Then listen to that. Again, a random verse comes up in my head. I look it up and break it down. Okay? It's also about this energy of the systems in control, okay? And that the way that it has been for so long, and that this is diminishing so fast, that even the way in which we can interpret writings or whatever it is can also just start to activate within us in a different way. I was not asking for a verse from the Bible, believe me. But when it came in to my field and it was something that I needed to look at, and I started to break this down, it made sense in the fact of what we're teaching here about the flame. And we're teaching that the origins of who we are as human beings, and even before Earth was created, was to have an inner resonance, a knowing, a vibration, a sound, okay? And that connected with all things. And this is just keeping it simplified a little bit here, okay? and that drew perfect health, it drew knowledge, it gave a way of life that was joyful and peaceful and kind and loving and supportive and all of those things without being draining or abusive or siphoning energy from anybody else, right? And that within all of this, it opened up power places as we started to evolve. It opened up power places on this planet and others as well. You know, you might be thinking about the pyramids or the Sphinx, for example. Those are two good ones. And in those power places are vaults that have locked this information, all information about the true history of the planet, right? And that's why everyone's so fascinated. We want to see the Akashic records in the right paw of the Sphinx. It's not there. It's not in that particular spot anyway. And they want to know, you know, the history of the pyramids and the obelisks and all these power places in Uluru and, you know, the Andes as well, and Bolivia and Antarctica and Alaska and all different places where there are multiple power zones and multiple structures that predate the Bible, etc. as well. And we have all of that information. This is what I'm trying to tell you. And I've uncovered and unlocked a fair bit so far that I am developing into a method of teaching you all, sharing you with you, the codes, so that you can open these things up for yourself. The Destiny Code started it all. If you think back to the Destiny Code, if you want to do it at any point, it's free. It's either here on YouTube or at my Teachable website. And that activates that part of you that knows everything. The part of you that is encoded. It unlocks that in your own way. So I was already teaching this a long time ago, but now stepped out of the traditional ways of spirituality. And that's a big leap, believe me, into something that is more ancient, reveals more energy. It reconstructs the physical. It reconstructs very, very easily. There's ways of mediumship that are different now. There's ways of psychicness that are different, where you can receive information, etc. And all of those things I know people want, and they want to be able to channel, and they want to be able to see the future, and they want to be able to do all of these things. And there's an easier method than what we've been taught for so long. So all of this is coming. All of you have this knowledge from the origins within your cells, okay, within your being, locked away. And there are ways to open it again. But once you open it again, you change. You can't live in the old craziness and try to stand out in that world anymore. You simply step to the side and orchestrate for yourself the timeline that is most abundant for you on every level, most knowledgeable, easiest, all the things that you're looking for. And that's what I can help you to do. That's what I'm here to do. And it's always been that way. But I'm not here to just give endless messaging with cards either. Because the way that I see it is this. If you have all of the information within you, you've got to learn to start trusting this. That means when a situation comes up in your life, that you ask, okay, what do I do? And you feel and know the answer, because you always do. You just might be ignoring it or going into all of your unhealed fear or whatever it is. And so you start going back to needing somebody else to tell you. But if you're honest with yourself, when you know the answer anyway, and then you see a reading or something and it validates what you already know, doesn't it? Right? One way or another, which means it's trying to show you to trust yourself in the first place. So what I've done is removed that dependency, in a sense, and instead continue to try to open what you have inside, the eternal flame, the eternal self. You might connect with your higher self. You might connect with God or Source. You might connect with your guides or angels, but they're all trying to get you to connect with yourself, where access is available to multiple streams of information. Okay? So, with that being said, I am going to ask specifically for 3 messages. Okay? We're going to have 3 messages come through here. To reset, to realign, and to dissolve all of the nonsense away from you. I would love to see more people involved with this work, and eventually this work will be taught to people who will then teach, right? Because you all have it within you to share this throughout the world. So I'm going to ask for 3 points here of recognition, and I'm asking for a golden white gold flame to be placed around me and around all of you, and for that white gold flame to light up across this planet. Okay, here we go. First message, 4th house, home. You are home. Second message, relationship. Third message, some of you might have had 1, 2, or 3 in your head. You don't need to, but you might have. Okay, third message. Symbiosis. Symbiotic and symbiotic energy. Okay. So just bear with me for a second. So, this is what is coming in. So this is the thing about home, the 4th house. Okay. 4th house is down the bottom of your chart. If we move up to the top of your chart, you're going to see the 10th house. Okay. Again, I'm not an astrologer, but I used to be in another life. I can tell you stuff that I just know. This is showing you what stuff you were taught or how you were raised, okay, when you were a child, all right? How is how you were raised as a child different from what you want to do in your life? Are these opposite? Mine are opposite. However, law, order, justice, and things that my mother wanted me to study, which is also connected with the 4th house, was being a lawyer. In my career, okay, I advocate for people all the time, and I also do give strategies for businesses, for big business, for big companies. I've also cleared big companies and worked with their employees to bring mindfulness into the energy, right? So the advocacy and the justice and the fighting for people is there without the degree. Even though if you asked me some sort of legality, the information that comes out of my brain is unbelievable. So I've really helped people a lot with that. I've also helped myself a lot with that, just so you know. So this message is saying the way in which you were raised is most likely still inherently within you, although your future or your career may be completely different, right? And this also reminds me of Pluto, and Pluto being involved in rebirthing and drawing things from the surface. So drawing things from your home up into your energy of your future, right? Your midheaven or your 10th house, right? The energy of how you show yourself has to be like, so for example, the opposite is here. So you might actually look the opposite of how you looked when you were young into your now, or you might be bringing the same energy of your youth but in a different way, okay? Which is basically what I do, because I've always been a bit of a rebel, I guess you could say. And in Australia we had people who were bogans, which were, when I was going to school, that just meant that you listened to heavy metal music, you dressed in tight jeans and t-shirts, and probably smoked and drank and all that sort of stuff, right? But the people who were upper class called them bogans as a way of a sort of detrimental. But when I was going to school, in high school, it was kind of cool. Like, so we were like the cool kids, and we thought we were roller skating and all that sort of stuff. So that energy of being a rebel, let's just say, pushed itself into my career, not in a way where causing trouble or anything like that. And I never got in trouble as a kid other than being suspended for fighting. But instead standing out a little bit, or daring to be myself, dressing however I want, doing my hair however I want, listening to music, singing and carrying on and partying if I want to, right? Not hurting anybody and not causing any drama, but still being authentic to myself, right? So that's the first message here. There is a change in how you see yourself, how you've been sitting in your life, how you come across. The second thing is the relationship. So we see the relationship section over here on your chart, opposite to yourself, okay? So if this is your rising, and this is your descendant sign over here. So we've had all four sort of corners of the zodiac wheel, right? So the relationship is changing. The relationship with yourself and personal relationships. It's like a Uranus moment where there's a big right angle turn in where you're going and what you're doing. So this is only natural, okay? If who you are is not matching who you're hanging out with, okay, you're going to change, right? If who you are is not matching who you're with, things are going to change, okay? If you don't want things to change, then things are going to remain the same but turbulent continually. And then you're going to say, well, where's the universe? Well, what's happening? I've asked for help and nothing's happening, because you're still in the same spot. So, you know, you're not going to see much growth in the same spot, the same place that made you unwell. And I say that to people that need healing or reconstruction. I'm like, well, you're living in this toxic place, you're living in this toxic life, yet you're asking for a miracle, but you won't move from what made you sick in the first place. You won't look at your emotions, you won't look at your patterns, you won't look at the reasons why things have happened the way that they've happened. Instead, you're looking outside of yourself for something to fix it. So when you're looking at this as the relationship energy coming up here, okay, you've got to understand that in order for growth to happen, there has to be movement on your part first. I'm not telling everybody if you're in a perfect relationship to leave it. This is talking about relationship in reaction to yourself and where you're at, just like this one and this one did, okay? It's interesting. And this is a trine sextile, symbiotic vibe, okay? Where these three planets are vibing together. Three could be three situations for you. Something that works more in harmony rather than a conjunction, which is like harsh, right? Something working in harmony. And this connects me also to with a message from Gemini, or the message of Gemini, which is communicating, right? And Gemini is, so we have the first house, the second house. Gemini is around here, right? Usually. Gemini might be in a different house for you, depending on what time you were born. So if Gemini is connected with communication, it's also connected with cross-pollinating, and it's connected with cross-posting, let's just say. And it's connected with siblings, like, you know, your home life a little bit, how you're communicating with others right now. With Gemini, loves to communicate. And the communication energy can also be more on a wider scale, or that you're using your voice and connecting with people on the same pathway as you, right? Connecting with people who are in a symbiosis with you, a much easier, calmer flow where you're not always having to listen to someone dump. You both can dump if you want to. You know, you're not just always the one-sided person who cops it all, right? Or you're not the person that's constantly talking about your problems either, because you're shifting your way out of it, you see. So these three cards, these three messages are really, really showing you home is where the heart is, okay? The heart is the seat of the soul, of who you are as a soul, the center of it. And it's also where your flame is. Is your energy originally yours? Or is this a reflection of how you've been taught or programmed? How is the relationship with yourself and others? Are you constantly waiting for something to happen that will fix or bring you a solution? Or are you open to those solutions happening when you actually change something about yourself? I had to do this. I had to reconstruct my whole self. And I thought I was doing pretty well. But I had to reconstruct it. I had to dare to be different here, rather than hoping that everything was going to be sweet. I had to dare to be different, to challenge, because that's what brings change. A challenge brings change. When you've had an issue that you've had to deal with, hasn't it changed you after? You don't get much change when everything's gone sweet, right? Everything's cool. There's no challenge to you. There's nothing for you to step into. And when you have challenges, believe me, the universe is working with you, because something has to shift either from you or away from you, like from yourself or away from yourself. And either way, it might come abruptly as well. Which leads me to that message of being in a symbiotic energy, communicating properly, not just saying the right things and then thinking and feeling other things, or being secretly hateful or angry, or secretly hating on someone because they're not doing what you wanted them to do. You know, and exposure comes with all of this work too. And that's okay. We want to know who people are. That's okay. But we also have to understand who we are in the process, which is what it's bringing up in everybody. Okay, September's going to be an interesting month. Okay, I hope to see you as part of my Patreon page or here as a member on YouTube. I will be going more live, giving more explanations at times, but my deeper transmissions and the things kind of like what you got for the midpoint activation for the Lion's Gate, but different subjects will be every single month behind that paywall. I have to do that Otherwise, people interrupt. People disrupt everyone who's trying to learn just because they want to be that way, right? So if you want to learn with me and you want to learn one-on-one, you can have one-on-one sessions with me, okay? And you'll see that there below in the groups here. Or you can come into the group of people who are actually flame bearers and really, really wanting to activate more and more and more and more and more knowledge, and there'll be tons of it. And hopefully by next year, my course will be out so that you can really, really integrate all of this information at your own pace. Don't forget, all of my free courses are still available, and there will be more given on the Teachable. So memberships are available, a tarot course is available, dragons, all kinds of things, semester 1, 2, 3, which are larger. They're all accredited internationally. And you will also be able to accredit yourself as well as an accredited practitioner, okay, worldwide. So don't forget, all those things are still there. I'm also available for transmissions and bundles and 8-week sessions as well. All those things are there. And away we go into a new future for all of us, which is exciting because it will be a future that doesn't have so many so many hooks and problems and issues with it. Okay, it may take a little time for things to balance out, but the more people that really, really awaken the flame within themselves, the more this starts to spread. Once it starts to spread, it's going to take over. And once that happens, we no longer have any kind of disruption, distortion, siphoning energy, problems, issues. It all starts to leave for good. Okay? So I hope that you all enjoyed today's message. I hope that this finds you happy and well. I appreciate those that have sent birthday wishes for tomorrow, for my birthday. And I'll see you next week. Okay? Bye for now. Everybody.